Hello, this is Sharon Pierce for NDE, Near Desert Experience. This YouTube channel is talking about water coming back to California. Near Desert Experience is my supposition that over a long period of time, but through the environmental shifting, water will be replenished in Southern California in the desert areas of Mojave and Sonora with the help of improvements in the management of the Colorado River, underground rivers, aquifers, dry wells being slowly but surely built up over maybe hundreds of years or more into the future, but the effects will be that the desert will change. There will be more precipitation, more moisture, more water in the reservoirs, and it will draw more human life to settle in the area, become more of a lush environment. This particular year, the winter has not produced much moisture in the desert region of Southern California and the Mojave and even the Sonora Desert. It has produced a lot along the coast, a tremendous amount in Northern California, and a pretty good amount so far in Central California. I want to start by bringing up well, first I have to do some sharing here, so let me just set this up as a sharing situation. Okay, we're going to share my traditional front page for this podcast, which is NDE, Near Desert Experience, water, and this is down in the Mojave, somewhere in the Death Valley area. And I used to present to you the areas via the congressional districts because they were already formatted. And so it was easy to talk about what was happening through the congressional districts. So I will say that what is coming up over the past, since the beginning of the year through the moisture of February, where this was pretty dry all up in here, there seems to be some kind of drainage happening along the Colorado River, bringing a little moisture in. So now the dry area is up pretty much up through here and into here. I'll show you that picture in a little while. So that's what we've been looking through since last March. I started this last March. Now I'm going to switch over to another picture. This is where we are today, or as of the end of February. In my last podcast or program, my last video, this was more dry. But now we're up to 20 to 40% of average rainfall coming in over here. So it's a red color, okay? So when we get into this area, Death Valley would be over in here, and Badwater Basin, all that would be over in here. Here's Vegas, this is where Barstow would be, and so forth. This is coming over to the area that would be Ridgecrest, and I think it's called California City, and coming down through Bakersfield right over around this way. So there is more moisture coming in. We're not through. We're halfway through the season from September 30th to September 30th. But we don't expect a lot of rainfall in the summer, but there can still be rainfall now from March 16th, likely even into May, possibly June. So some of the points that they're making is the water year to date through the end of February. Northern California received well above average. Central California has received, they say below average, but I would say into March we're at least standard amount. somewhere, 50% or more, and the Mojave Desert is now receiving trace amounts. So that this is red and not gray or brown is an improvement. The Climate Prediction Center monthly outlook issued on February 28th indicates a 40 to 50% chance of above normal precipitation for Northern California and average Central California and Southern California during the month of March. So the seasonal outlook from March forward to May indicates equal chances of below average, average, or above average. They do not know. And if there's anything else back here, reservoir storage, percent of average, this is pretty much at average and above. This is really good. This would be 60 to 80% down in here. And this would be sort of below. You've got a red dot there, 20 to 40%. And here is the snowpack. That's in good shape. It was rainy in December, not so rainy in January, a lot of rain in February. It changes all the time, so let's see, flow rate. Some were flowing greater than average, and I think most of them were flowing about average. This is the groundwater situation as of the end of February, and this is below normal. But the map for total precipitation shows more coming in this way, and this is your dry area. I'm going to stop this sharing now, and I want to go to another one, which I thought I had. Oh, just a moment. Well, we've got to bring this back down. We're going to go to share, and then we're going to go to here and see if we can show this map, which was my traditional map. I think I showed that at the beginning. I did show that at the beginning. So that's basically what is happening. We looked at this just now. It's going back up. This is the conditions as of February 28th. And this, do they state what this is? The series of atmospheric rivers shown in figure 1 here. The first series of storms started when a weak atmospheric river with a tropical moisture plume made landfall over Northern California late January. By February 1st to 2nd, along with another pulse of moisture made landfall and stalled there. Precipitation totals during this period included 6 to 15 inches over Northern California and so forth, the Northern Sierras. Now, it has been reported that there has been, close to 4 feet of rainfall in Eureka up in Humboldt County. That's right up here. So here's what we have been looking at. This is slight. This is less than a foot, maybe half an inch in through here. It's continuing, and we're going to see how much. Well, let's see if we have weather, Mojave, no. January weather history in Mojave. If we can pull anything from that, those are just graphs. So we'll go back out of that. And climate data. Numbers, no maps. Monthly weather. What do we have for the area around Mojave, California? Coming up for the rest of the month. We're looking at a little rain only tomorrow. And this is what has been happening as far as how much rainfall in degrees. This is about where we are. Average. Forecast. This is the forecast for temperatures. Severe weather. Do we have any? Well, that's just going to tell us something we don't need to see. That's just the United States. So, absent any detailed information on Mojave, that's where we're at. That is where we're at in the Mojave. And we will bring that down. And we will stop sharing. Oh, The Guardian. That's from United Kingdom. They actually cover our weather and our water here. California faces worsening drought, dry patterns seen among the entire lower basin of the Colorado River. And there is something said about Southern California. Let's see. Okay, it's not, this year's drought on the Colorado River isn't new. They've been keeping data since 2000. Now, a person from the weather service down there is saying we are at the tipping point on the Colorado, said Greg Pierce, no relation, an urban planner who directs the UCLA Water Resources Group. This year's drought isn't new. The current episode of unusual dryness began in 2000, has been worsened by rising temperatures associated with greenhouse gas emissions. The drought has kicked off a tense period, and he talks on about that. We've heard all those discussions in the past. The new administration's early actions, such as purging the government of federal employees working on climate, have given pause to those who study the Colorado River and advocate for conservation efforts. Pierce said, I'm concerned that we may go backwards and not follow through on the cuts that had begun to be made. A lot of parties involved may take the Trump anti-scientific approach as a means to delay the inevitable, which will just make the inevitable harder. Billions of dollars in aid had been earmarked for Colorado River Basin states to help mitigate drought through the Inflation Reduction Act, the signature climate bill of Joe Biden. So my biggest fear, said a climate scientist and former professor at University of Colorado Boulder, is that people will be indiscriminately fired, and we will thus lose decades of technical and practical knowledge for delivering essential water across the West. With over 40 million people dependent on water from the Colorado River, I would hope that the federal government retains and supports the highly skilled and experienced civil servant scientists and engineers that know how to run the system effectively. Over the past month, extreme drought, the third highest scale, has expanded in California, plus Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and Nevada. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, we do have one. Las Vegas has received less than a quarter of normal rainfall during its wintertime peak. This month's rains ended a 214-day stretch without any precipitation there. Southern Arizona had the hardest hit for the current drought, missed out on meaningful rains altogether in February, and Phoenix has less than 5% of normal rains and missed a 50-year dry spell record by a single day. Impacts on farmers and ranchers across Arizona has been severe. In LA, extreme drought remains even though ample rainfalls left the city still more than 3 inches short since last summer. While most of Southern California has received less than half of its normal rainfall, Northern California reservoirs are full, and there was a lot of snowpack as well. So that is what we're getting from Betsy Reed, editor of The Guardian in the U.S., on the drought conditions in California. And I will stop sharing this. So we'll just eliminate this. See if that's coming up there, right. And there we are. And that's basically what I wanted to say. I wanted to bring an update because I was hoping, obviously, for more rain in Southern California in the desert area. And I still believe in what I'm saying here on this podcast, but unfortunately you can't predict because the patterns go up and down. You don't know which month is going to get the atmospheric rivers and another will dry out, or when or where. You just don't know how it's going to come. So you just have to sit and watch. But over time, it is building, and I didn't go into mentioning it there, but there's some water. When I say Central California is getting more than often is predicted, that's going across the Tulare, the old Tulare Lake Basin, a very critical area. And the Fresno water groups, there's 2 or 3 of them that cover the greater Fresno area, and it extends out into Tulare Basin. They're the ones who are in the most controversial state and working on bringing their water storage plans and water distribution plans up to meet the state mandate. They're the one area, that is the one area that hasn't quite met its mark as yet. So thank you very much for listening, and we continue to watch water in the desert areas of California.